The stream has been started. There's one thing you should never do. It's stop the stream right after you've begun. You know what I'm saying, Lewis?
It's almost as bad as crossing streams.
I've never actually seen a stream be crossed in real time. It sounds like a dangerous activity.
It's not good.
Never cross the
Not
streams.
good.
Never ends well. Hope your boots are waterproof. That's something only two very good pals would attempt to try.
Dampen the mood.
You know, from the way you said that, Lewis, I feel like you've tried that on multiple occasions.
Jeez. I'm always looking for a single-seater lockout.
A single-seater lockout? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. Could you explain it to me?
I don't like peeing in the same room with people.
Yeah, I don't either. Especially the concept of like the open trough where there's just the dudes all standing there at the open trough. That's so weird.
Yeah, that's really only okay if you're drunk.
Or at a baseball game, I guess.
Which implies drunk.
Oh, yeah, right. I guess you'd have to be drunk to want to go to a baseball
if you're
game.
enjoying the game.
I got to admit, I've been to several baseball games, and I don't understand the allure of going to a baseball game. Are you a big baseball guy?
I used to love it, man. I was a giant fan of the Cincinnati Reds back when the Big Red Machine ruled the, almost said NFL, National League.
What happened?
And
You lost your interest in baseball?
What happened? They traded Tony Perez.
I don't know who that is. He's good, huh? Real
Their
all-star.
First baseman?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, their whole team was all-stars, man. Don't you know about the Big Red Machine? Are you familiar with this
I have to say
baseball
that
history?
I don't know much
Pete
about
Rose?
baseball. I do know that name,
Maybe
Pete
you've
Rose.
heard of Pete Rose.
Yeah.
Perhaps you've heard of Joe Morgan.
No.
No? What
No.
about Davey Concepcion?
No, but I like the way you say it.
How about Johnny Bench?
Johnny
I
Bench?
know you've heard
No.
of Johnny Bench.
No, nothing.
What? No?
I got nothing for you.
What?
I know, let's see here. Let me think of the baseball guys that I know. I know Bo Jackson, right?
Oh, geez, wrong era.
Didn't Michael
This is
Jordan
after
play
I gave up.
baseball? Didn't he play baseball for a while? I think he did.
Who?
Michael Jordan? Didn't he play baseball after he quit basketball? Didn't he go play baseball?
Can't keep track of these guys.
I know Pete
I
Rose.
remember somebody. Yeah, Pete.
Alex Martinez. He was on the he was playing for the Yankees, right? He played for the 49ers.
Alex Rodriguez?
Yeah, Alex
A-Rod?
Rodriguez.
I hear
What did I
talking
say?
about Martinez.
Okay, well, I don't know who that is.
See,
Rodriguez. Yeah.
It throws me for a loop when you use names that aren't the names you're meaning.
Yeah. Well,
That's the confusing part.
and yet you still knew who I was talking about.
Well, yeah, I try and piece it all together. I got a lot of circuitry firing up here.
A lot of
Coffee's just
circuitry.
starting to get in.
You're like Vision. Did you ever see the
Oh,
you see the
man,
new
where's
Marvel?
my thing? My little thing's gone.
You're like Vision without the power stone in the middle of his forehead.
I'm infinity stoned.
All right, let's see here. Shout out to Zach Hicks. Hello, Gov. We got Level Remix. We got Corey Blosser. Level Remix is he's in the chat. He's talking in capital letters. He says, Babe Ruth. One day I got to find out what Zach Hicks does for a living, because anytime we do a broadcast, it doesn't matter what day, it doesn't matter what time. We could go live at 2 a.m. Zach Hicks shows up. So round of applause to Zach Hicks for his tremendous support. Tremendous. But one day we got to figure out what he does. I think he might be in the mafia or something, because he's just always available. All right, guys. Look, we got some Apple stuff to talk about here. I'm not gonna yank your chain here, okay? It's a slow news week. But we do have some stuff. You know, it's funny. We always try to pack the front of our show with all the most interesting stuff, because we know that if we don't just start launching out all the interesting tidbits right at the start, then everyone's just going to leave. But have you ever watched a Nintendo Direct? So Nintendo does these events on YouTube where they just broadcast what they're going to be releasing, games and stuff, over the course of like the next 3 to 6 months. And the start of it is never anything interesting. They always talk about all the most boring games, stuff that you don't care about, stuff that you've never heard about. And then they save everything that's interesting right to the very, very end. Sometimes in the last 10 seconds of the broadcast, they'll show you one quick thing. It's like, and then everyone is there and they're all shocked and surprised. I feel like maybe that's what we need to do. We'll just never do anything interesting until the last 20 seconds of the show, which, honestly,
be careful what you wish.
You could argue that's what happens.
Exactly. Yeah, that's not a challenge for us.
Sometimes it never shows up. Sometimes it shows up in the last 20 seconds of the next show, so you just gotta make it through both episodes. Leander's, he's looking lively today. He's feeling good. He's smelling good. He's looking good. Look at him. He looks like a half. He looks like a rat trying to steal your lunch. And a
Luckily,
half
I
rotting
already ate
potato.
Most
Oh
of
my
it.
gosh, what is that?
It's only half eaten.
It's a salad. Yeah, half-eaten salad.
Oh, that
Look at
looks
how yummy
good.
that is. Does it really?
Yeah. It's got like little nibbles of cheese in there.
Yeah, it's tomato and mozzarella with some chicken.
Did you make that yourself?
No.
Oh,
'cause I
okay. I
didn't.
was gonna say Chef Caney over there. All right. So I got nothing else for you guys. So we just hop into the show here. We're gonna wrap up with an all new under review, or not under review, an all new what we're into, where we talk about stuff that we're currently into. We haven't done one of these in forever, and we also haven't done a what we're into in forever. So we'll try to work one of those into the show next week, where we talk about like gadgets that we're actually reviewing. And I was trying to figure out why we haven't done one of these in a while. I was like, do we have that much Apple news that we've been talking about? No, there's like nothing else. I don't know what's going on. So shout out to everyone who's here. Thanks for joining us live. And let's go ahead and get ourselves queued up here to start the show. We're going to be talking about iPhone 13. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about in regards to the new iPhone. We're going to talk about the new emojis in iOS 14.5. What am I doing? I'm doing the pre-show right now. I'm going to have to do this in just a sec.
The pre-show.
This is the the pre-show. And I'm going to be doing the pre-show here in just a minute when we start. So let's see if you're ready to go. Hey, Mrs. D. Are you ready? Yes. We're ready to start the show, and we can't do it without you. We need you to come on over here. Where are you? Oh, I'm in the refrigerator, getting myself a snack, preparing for the show. Okay, well, it's time to get going. What's that?
Where's the tweet? Where's the tweet?
Oh, sorry. God, did I not send the tweet? Oh, no, there's the tweet right there, Lewis. It's out. It's already been liked by one person.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
There it is.
Get ready for our numbers to skyrocket. Okay. If you guys are ready to roll, let's go ahead and start the show. Here we go. That didn't work. Why didn't that work? Oh, that's the wrong slider. There we go. Episode 480. 480. I still can't figure this out. Here we go. Hello and welcome to the Coldcast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Arif and Elijah. Joining me today, after witnessing some of his monster clouds, rapper Sean Combs has relinquished the moniker Puff Daddy to our new reigning champ. He's also the founder of Cultimac. Leander Caney is here. Pete Caney. Also with us, he hasn't left his house or showered since the lockdowns began. And now he's developed an odd habit of muttering something about his precious whilst walking on all fours. It's getting weird over at his house. He also likes petting jewelry. The managing editor of Cultimac, Lewis Wallace, is here.
The not leaving the house bit might be true, but the showering bit, that is fake news.
Yeah,
Daily
well,
showers, whether I need them or not.
I'm just glad that you're put on some clothes and aren't wearing your loincloth walking around the house. Although we did get a little flash of what it might look like here earlier.
Said, be careful what you think about and be careful what you ask for.
Lewis busted off
get
his
it.
shirt. I'm going to have to edit that clip in somehow. He got angry, and his shirt came off. Straight up flashed it. And I can't believe his 8-pack is just out of control. He's clearly been doing his push-ups, his sit-ups.
It's all that Apple Fitness Core workout
Is
training, man.
that the secret? Have either of you guys tried any of the Apple Fitness stuff?
Yes.
How are you liking it so far?
You know what? I actually really like the those little core things. They had little 10-minute core workouts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, 10 minutes, whatever, right? You know? And I mean, this is not my kind of thing. I'm not a gym guy. None of this stuff seems to make any sense to me, but I'm like, I got the free thing. I'll give it a shot. I did, and I'm like, wow, that was actually pretty interesting, and I felt pretty good and different afterward. And the next morning I woke up sore as can
Couldn't
be
move.
from 10 minutes. 10 minutes of just little contortions, and it's literally, I mean, at most you have a little dumbbell that you like wave from side to side or so. It feels honestly, I was like, I cannot believe that this is going to do anything.
Like it
But
felt
I
easy.
did. Yeah, it felt, and also 10 minutes. I mean, it's 10 minutes. So yeah, I definitely recommend it. I mean, it's they're pretty positive people, all
Yeah.
the trainers. Hey fam, let's do this. A lot of that,
Billy Blank
But,
style, huh? Throwing
yeah, I
punches,
mean,
throwing smiles.
that's not exactly my style either. But 10 minutes a day, I definitely recommend it. And I felt, I did it every day, 4 days. I felt better at the end of that week than I did at the beginning of that week.
Dude, you're going all in. So you got your little 2.5 pound barbell that you're like shaking from side to side. Do you have a shake
I
weight
got a
that you could?
10 pounder. No,
Oh, you
no
got-
shake weight. Scared of the shake weight.
I bought a
Very
shake
scared.
weight once.
Yeah, you talked about it
We
previously on the
know.
show.
We know. You're proud of it.
How do you like the shake weight, Leander? You still find
It was
yourself
rubbish.
using
It
it?
was completely useless.
Come on. I bet you if you actually did it on a consistent basis, we're going to get demonetized just for this action right here, that it would actually be a good workout for you.
No, I tried it and then it ended up in the basement, and then we got rid of it. It was completely worthless.
You didn't get tired? Your arms didn't get tired with all the shaking?
No, you could barely feel a thing.
Oddly,
Rubbish.
all those muscles were so developed that the shake weight didn't actually help me at all.
They still sell it?
I think so. Yeah, that was a classic. It's probably sold on. It's probably sold in like Spencer's and like those novelty gift shops. It's too good of a product, just from a joke perspective, from a meme perspective, to not sell. Even if it does nothing for you, and it doesn't actually help your buys or tries in any way, just the motion of that product is alone what will sell it. All right. Well, look, we're already so far off the tracks. Let me just go into the pre-show action here and tell you guys what we're going to be talking about. We got a lot of stuff to talk about with iPhone 13. iPhone 13 could have some really cool features, and we have some leaks that came out this week, and we'll be talking about everything that you can expect in iPhone 13. I am on the cusp of buying an iPhone 12, but I'm resisting, especially now that I've read some of this information. I think I might have the strength to hold out and wait for iPhone 13 because it looks like it's going to have some really cool stuff. And we'll talk about the new emoji coming to iPhone for iOS 14.5. And normally we wouldn't talk about emoji, but finally, these are going to allow Lander, Katie, and all you stoners to communicate without using words, which is what you want when you've just blown the biggest cloud known to mankind into the atmosphere. You don't want to use words. You just want to communicate in pictures. And now you'll be able to do that. We're going to talk a little bit about Apple Music. I've been testing out Apple Music. They gave me a three-month free trial. And so I kind of tried it. I put this video out on my YouTube channel talking about using the AirPods Max with Apple Music, which totally transformed the AirPods Max. I couldn't believe how much better they sounded. And now that I'm using Apple Music, it's changed a lot since they have originally released it. And they've added some really cool features, like the lyrics mode is really cool. So we'll touch on some of that stuff and just some of the cool features within Apple Music. If you don't have a lot of Apple Music experience, you might find this to be interesting, at least educational. And there's some features in there that I hope Spotify will copy. And then we're going to wrap up with an all-new What We're Into, the segment where we just talk about whatever we're into, like shows, movies, long glass Gandalf pipes in Leander's case, whatever we have been using a lot of or watching a lot of, injecting a lot of, any of that stuff. Before we dive into all the fun, and there's going to be so much fun, let me give a thank you to Squarespace for supporting this episode. Let me hop on into browser mode. Oh, shoot. Did I have this lined up? Oh, yeah, there we go. No, I don't. I'm just talking as I do this to vamp. There we go. Squarespace.com/cultcast. Squarespace is where you need to head if you need a website. I have 2 Squarespace websites. I pay for them because they're just so gall darn easy to build. Everything is drag and drop and incredibly powerful. So they have all these modules that you can control, and you move everything around, customize everything to make your website look uniquely yours, and you'll have a website that you love the look of, and you don't need to know how to do anything technical. They make it Super easy to build, super easy to manage yourself, and you'll have a beautiful website up quickly. You can create a blog, you can create a website for your business, you could create a personal website that highlights your portfolio, you can build an online store. They make it really easy to put your resume online or highlight some of your skills, and that will help you find a job, especially if you're like a designer or something coming out of school. You can create a website that highlights what you're good at. And the best part is they automatically will make your website look good on any device that visits. You pick a template, and the templates are arranged in such a way that they'll look good on an iPhone, they'll look good on an iPad, a computer, a PC, a Mac, you name it. So if you still don't have a website, head on over to squarespace.com/cultcast. Get started, build a website, see how you like it. If you like what you have at the end of the trial, you can use code CULTCAST at checkout to save 10% off your first purchase at squarespace.com/cultcast. And if you do a year of service at one time, which is what I do, you can get a additional discount plus a free domain name at squarespace.com/cultcast. Okay, let's hop on in to iPhone 13, Lewis. There's a lot to talk about here, and I need some affirmations that I'm doing the right thing by waiting for iPhone 13, because I have this old, crusty, dusty, musty iPhone 11 Pro here, and I love it, but the camera is the limiting factor, because they limit the night mode to the regular camera and not on wide angle or not on telephoto, which is a problem for me, to be honest with you. So let's talk about iPhone 13. Why should we be excited about iPhone 13?
Well, it could be the first iPhone with an always-on display.
Wow,
Sounds exciting, doesn't it?
I actually really like that a lot, and I'm surprised that they haven't done that before.
Yeah, it might be a lot like the always-on screen on the latest Apple Watches, according to an unconfirmed report. And the other thing that the iPhone might add is portrait mode for video, which is probably something that you like. Right?
Oh, dude, that would be great. Yeah, I feel like I would use that all the time. Like even more than portrait mode for like the photo mode.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing video, sure. I don't know how many videos of my cats I need, but yeah, let's see.
Could never have too many cat videos, Lewis.
This stuff is coming from Max Weinbach, who, our story says has a moderately reliable reputation for predicting details of future Apple products. But, this is just more indication that maybe this isn't just going to be kind of a speed bump version of the current models.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you are actually doing the right thing by holding out. Hold out, Irfan.
I'm going to do it. No promises, but I'm trying my best.
So what Weinbach says is that, one of the standout features is the screen's never going to turn off. And, it's iPhone 13, iPhone 12s, who knows what they're going to call it. We've heard rumors that they're not going to call it a 13 just because, bad luck.
You got to be kidding me. Come on. They got to call it a 13. They're not going to skip over that.
I don't know. Supposedly the clock and battery icon will always be shown, and notifications will light up temporarily. Let's see. Kind of a common thing in Android phones, apparently. Don't know myself because I don't use them, but it sounds like something that would be awesome. I know that, for instance, the always-on screen on the Apple Watch 6 versus the Apple Watch 4, very, very different. And I think that having a phone that had that would also be good, and it would make you feel like you've got the latest, greatest thing, and would actually be useful.
It would be so useful. You could just always glance down and see what time it is because that's the one reason why I always activate. Well, sometimes it's under my jacket sleeve.
This seems completely lame.
Come on, Leander.
Really lame.
Sounds astonishing to me.
Like an always-on clock, an always-on battery indicator.
What are you talking about?
Like
it's life-changing on the Apple Watch. A life-changing feature.
It is a watch.
Well, there's a watch. Yeah, I mean that's kind of you do want it on, don't you? I mean, like the phone. I mean, it doesn't. Like I said, they've had it on Android phones forever, and it's just like a big. Who cares?
I think
if it's just that. I mean, if it did crazy, animations or.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's if they enable this capability, then who knows what they'll use it for, right? I mean, and don't you think that the way that they use it on the watch is very compelling? I find it to be awesome watching things come into focus as I raise my wrist or whatever. I think it just makes it seem kind of magical, and compared to the old one, it's just like it's off and dead and useless until
Absolutely.
I don't know. To me, it seems like I mean,
I turned off
I-
always on my watch to save battery life.
You're kidding
my
me.
God, really?
How could you do that?
I didn't even really notice. I just realized I did that.
oh my God.
I didn't even know you could do that. But having the always on display on the Apple Watch is a transcendent feature. It turns the watch into something that's kind of annoying to use to something that's actually a useful tool. And it gives the gadget like a soul. It turns it into like an appliance. It's just always there,
What
always
a
showing
load of-
you detail that you might need to see. I can't fathom that you would ever turn off that feature. It's so immensely useful. And how much battery life does it possibly add to
a
your
ton more. Yeah,
experience?
you get like double the battery.
No.
At
So
least
now
it's
you're getting
half as
36
much
hours
again.
of battery life?
It does. It makes a big difference.
Look at my face. This is my dubious face. Because I don't believe you. I'm going to guess that maybe you get an extra 2 hours of battery life. Maybe. Okay.
I was running out of battery, I think, like at the end of the day, and so
Yeah.
I turned
Really?
it on.
What a 6.
Yeah, but I think I might have been doing something that was draining the battery because,
Like not charging.
yeah, I think I was doing something with it that made it drain quicker.
Maybe
I can't
you're-
remember what.
So you think that maybe there was something else going on that was draining the battery at the same time?
It seemed to be draining a lot, so I turned off the display, and then the battery lasted a lot longer. So I don't know.
Well-
Which Apple Watch do you have? Just out of curiosity.
I don't know. This one, a
6.
6.
Oh, okay, you have the 6.
so
God, look how
do
big
you,
that thing is.
Do you turn that thing on and you do bike workouts, right? So you put it on for like a 4-hour bike ride.
Well, they usually, yeah. Well,
mean-
no, I don't. I mean, kind of yes and no. Like I had been turning it on, but then it doubles up the workouts. In Strava, it imports the workouts from the bike computer and from the watch. And I wanted to keep the computer on, and I couldn't be bothered to manually, like someone like Graham would manually manage these things, right? So I stopped doing it, and it kind of ran. And I was going to do it for the longer ones because I wanted to get the VO2 max. Measurements, but it doesn't do it for bike rides. It only does it for runs.
What?
So what I actually did this last week, I when I took a bike ride, I told the watch it was actually a run instead of a bike ride.
Did you get a special email from Tim Cook? My God, you are the fastest
The
runner on the
fastest
planet.
runner ever, y'all. They want to feature
No,
you in an
Marvel-
Apple commercial now. You're running like 21 miles an hour
The
for like
Avengers
15
want you, man.
miles.
Yeah, I know. Well, I haven't done the second one yet, so I don't know what the measurements are, but I'm hoping that'll work.
That's really funny. I was driving the other day and I was using Apple Maps, and it was taking me the most bizarre way to go to this place I was trying to get
Yeah,
to.
Walking direction.
And then I figured I had the walking directions on. And I feel like that's something they should automatically detect. And they should say, hey, are you in your car? Because you're walking 60 miles an hour. And maybe
Yeah.
we should switch modes because the directions we gave you certainly are not meant for someone who's in a car. Okay, sorry, Lewis. We got some more stuff in here. Is that all of it? I think that might be all of it. So always on display with some.
Portrait.
Yeah, go ahead.
The portrait video, which would extend the what is it called? Bokeh.
Okay.
I can never remember.
Yeah.
Bokeh. Bokeh.
You can say it either way.
Bokeh. I can never remember. Anyway,
It's not
that
okay.
basically lets you blur out the background. It makes it look, like pro looking video, right? So he also says, now this sounds odd to me, that the 2021 iPhone will also include stronger magnets for MagSafe because apparently the first version wasn't quite as, he says sturdy, but I think he means, just
Strong.
didn't have as much of a iron grip as Apple was hoping.
Yeah, I've heard that same thing, especially from people who had the Apple Wallet that attaches to the phone,
Yeah.
which I think is a really bad idea. Because if your wallet accidentally comes detached from the case, which apparently is happening to some people, especially because you're pushing it into your pocket, and sometimes your jeans will catch it and then the wallet will just come off. So you got to have serious magnetism to prevent that from from coming off the phone. And then also, if you have it connected to like a stand or something that's using the magnets, then they need to have a really strong magnetic field. Magnetic field. Let me talk about magnetics. I know so much about magnetics, clearly. You got to have a really strong magnetic field to hold the iPhone on there when you're going over bumps and stuff. So I can see why they'd want to make this connection stronger. So my mom has the newest, greatest iPhone, and she has a MagSafe charger as well. And I was just playing around with it, and it comes off surprisingly easy for something that's supposed to have, that's supposed to be able to support a wallet and support a charging stand or something that holds your phone while you're driving. It's not as strong as I was expecting it to be. You have one, right, Leander? Do you have the MagSafe charger?
I do, but I never use it.
Why not? Is it just too slow?
I just like it. I just plonk it on top of a Qi charger.
Yeah.
I don't even know where it is actually. I think I lost it already. But yeah, I haven't really used it yet. And I was being kind of disappointed by the MagSafe accessories. I mean, nothing's really sort of jumped out at me as really useful. The wallet is idiotic, like you said, and so are all the others. Right?
It really does seem like a bad
useless.
idea.
What can you stick in it? I mean, you can't really, you can't put enough cards in it to be useful. You can't put, huh?
It holds it up.
Yeah,
Holds it up.
but can you swing it around a little bit, Lewis, and see what happens?
I don't think I want to do that.
Well, of course not, because the
Pretty
magnets are too
powerful.
weak.
I don't. That's the only MagSafe thing I haven't. I actually don't even have it plugged in. Kind of pathetic.
I'm kind of
Don't have
surprised that
those.
you guys
I
don't
don't
use the MagSafe charger more often. Isn't that one of the main
Well, you know what I want
features?
MagSafe is on the headphones, is on the AirPods Max. Like that would be, I think, a good place for a MagSafe charger, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, I think they should add MagSafe to everything, quite honestly. And maybe eventually they will. But I thought that MagSafe feature was one of the marquee features of the new iPhone 12, so I'm surprised that both you guys just seem like you don't use it. So, Lewis, what do you use to charge your phone?
Qi charger.
And why do
Lightning
you
cable.
choose Qi over the MagSafe?
To be honest, it's just because it's plugged in. I've got little chargers all over the house, right? I mean,
Uh-huh.
honestly, like the reason I don't use this thing as much as I should is because it didn't come with a little charger, a wall charger, and I don't have one. I haven't.
What?
I haven't taken the time to find a powerful enough wall charger to get this thing to work at the maximum rate. So I haven't gotten around to it. I mean,
Oh my
I'm kind
God.
of lousy with too many chargers. When I have used it, and it definitely does charge it quickly, and I definitely like it. But I mean, to be honest, the cable, I don't know, just something about it doesn't fit into my amazingly. I'm sure can just imagine how incredibly pristine everything is on my desk.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
King of neat freaks, right? So, yeah, I just haven't. I don't know. It's fine. I like it, and when I stumble upon the proper 20-watt wall adapter, I will go ahead and find a place to put it. But I've got so many all around already. I suppose I could retire one of the old ones, but most of the ones I have do multiple devices at once. So that's another reason. Like I like to be able to charge the phone and the AirPods at the same time on the same thing.
It is kind of weird that they don't include the actual wall adapter and that you have to go out and buy one separately. And I think for some people that is a strange, that's a strange process to have to go through. So you get the charging accessory, but now you need to buy a brick so that your charging accessory will actually charge. And then you go on Amazon or something, and there's like 1,000 different ones that you can buy. And you're like, is this compatible with the one that I have? It's charging technology it's so strange right now. We're in the middle of the new charging tech and the old charging tech. So the stuff that has been around forever, like the 12-watt iPad chargers. And then there's this whole new line of gallium nitride chargers, which are now on the market, which are really powerful. And you can get tiny little charging bricks that will charge your MacBook Pro at 100 watts, which was never possible before. You could hardly find a 100-watt charger, let alone one that was small. But it's interesting because I was charging my phone in the car recently, and in the car charger that I've had for a while, and it can barely charge my iPhone 11 Pro. And finally, it occurred to me, maybe I should look for a more powerful one. Maybe there's something out there that's more powerful. And lo and behold, they have a ton of more powerful ones on the market right now. So the one that I had, I think, was probably, it might have been 5 watts, possibly 12 watts. So I just bought another one for $12. I think it's made by Anka, and it's 36 watts. It's a 36-watt car charger, which means you can charge 2 iPhones at 18 watts apiece, which is almost the maximum charging wattage that they'll each take. I think the maximum is 20. So you can charge 2 iPhones, almost turbocharge them both at the same time. So just something I want to throw out there. If you have a bunch of old charging tech, now might be a good time to upgrade your charging tech because the prices have come down on a lot of this stuff. And they'll charge your iPhone way faster. Excuse me. And if you have a newer phone, the batteries on these new phones are much larger than they used to be. And it takes a long time to charge, especially if you're using GPS or something at the same time, unless you have like a newer charger. So if you haven't upgraded your chargers in a while, now might be a good time to do that. I don't know how I got into that little diatribe from.
That's actually quite interesting, though. I mean, like, we should do a roundup on this. Like all these new chargers and which ones are the good ones. Like every time I plug it in, I get a message saying, this accessory that won't work with your iPhone.
Really?
You remember those messages? Yeah. Like the one in the car. Like that's when I plugged it in. It said, this accessory won't work with this iPhone for some reason.
That must be really old.
Which infuriated me.
Or did you get some off-market brand? I would get a well-known brand. I mean, you don't have to buy Apple, but buy something like Anka or Aki, or there are some other brands that escape me. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Anka and Aki. I mean, they weren't big-known brands until this last year or so, were they? I mean, they've been up-and-coming brands for a couple of years, but they definitely haven't. They've earned their reputation this last year, I'd say.
What's crazy about those brands too is, and this is the power of Amazon, those brands wouldn't have existed if not for Amazon, right? I mean, how hard is it to launch a whole new brand?
I think.
What's that?
Yeah, I think one of them is. I think one or both are Amazon only. I mean, they launched it to. I remember reading about them. They launched specifically to sell on Amazon. I mean, that was their distribution channel. It was an Amazon only brand. They might have expanded now to other channels, but I believe that's how they got started.
I never heard that.
Like maybe they're in Best Buys now or something.
Yeah. Well, it's a big headache to set up a distribution channel, and if you just concentrate on Amazon initially, it makes things a lot easier.
Yeah, if you can build a brand on Amazon. So for those of you that follow me on Twitter and stuff, you may know I've been getting into some Amazon shenanigans, which has been interesting. I've learned a lot of stuff. Has also turned into a horrible nightmare. But you can make a lot of money on Amazon, and launching a new product, if you market it well and you're ranked well on Amazon, it basically just will build critical mass, and you'll just sell tons of that product. And there are people out there where that's all they do is they figure out a product to sell on Amazon, and it isn't even necessarily have to be like some revolutionary new product, but they'll market it well, it will get ranked well on Amazon, and then from that point forward, boom, profit city. Like there's one guy that I watch YouTube videos from occasionally, and he's making like 50 grand a month. He's in his 20s. He's making like 50 grand a month selling products on Amazon because his product is ranked well. And so people just keep buying it because you'll search for a product and Amazon brings up all those search results, right? And people usually just buy what's on the first page or two.
What's he selling, meth?
I don't know what he's selling, honestly. And people who are selling products and making a lot of money from their products oftentimes don't want to talk about the products that they're selling, right? Because they don't want competition. But previously, if you wanted to market a product and make it and have it be a successful product, you had to get it into like retail outlets. Imagine how hard that would be. But now you just launch it on Amazon, and there's all these unknown brands that are unknown virtually everywhere except on Amazon. So if you go to a Best Buy, you would never see that brand. But on Amazon, it's like the top brand for that one category. It's really weird. Anyway, one other feature I wanted to mention is Apple has won a patent for a variable refresh rate up to 240 hertz. Do I have this up right now? I thought I did. Oh, yeah, I'm on it. So if you're hoping that Apple will be bringing ProMotion to iPhone 13, look, we all want ProMotion. We've been talking about ProMotion forever on an iPhone, And it seems like it might finally happen with refresh rates up to 240 hertz and possibly even beyond that. So it would be cool because your phone could ramp up the refresh rate when it needed to if you were playing a game or something, but then bring it back down when you didn't need it so that you could conserve battery life. And this feature is becoming popular in the world of televisions. So a lot of TVs these days will support this feature, and gaming consoles can have variable refresh rates to bring you a more smoother experience. A smoother experience, not a more smoother experience. I don't want to speak like a total moron. Sorry, I apologize to Lewis for that. And have silky smooth scrolls. It would have a much more responsive.
That's the main advantage, right? Isn't it? Of the higher hertz, the higher refresh rate is mainly when scrolling. It just makes it smoother. Are there any other benefits?
Gaming, so when the pixels are moving around in games. And then also another big one would be Apple Pencil. So you're driving with your Apple Pencil, and the response rate to your Apple Pencil would probably be much shorter and smoother, and it would feel like a more natural writing experience. So if you're an artist, you would probably want to have a higher refresh rate in those kinds of scenarios, so your drawing isn't constantly lagging behind what you're actually doing, you know? So that could be another feature as well. So all around, looking like it's going to be a very highly desirable phone with lots of very cool features that aren't going to be revolutionary. And if you're coming from Android or you are following anything that's happening in the Android world, they're going to roll their eyes at you and be like, oh, you're getting variable refresh rate. Or, you're going to get them always on display.
They had to, I know, yeah.
What's next? Side-loading apps? Oh, man, that would be a great feature. If Apple just said, hey, you know what? We're not going to let certain apps in the App Store, but if you want to side-load them, go ahead. And that's a much-needed feature. And there's no reason other than profit motive, in my humble opinion, that they're not adding that. Why should you not be able to load whatever you want on your iPhone, side-load it like you can do on Android? That's one feature I feel like a lot of us would use. Okay, let's talk about some emoji coming to everyone's iPhones, Leander. You don't need to buy a new iPhone to get the best new features. And I know that you probably choked and blew out a huge plume of smoke when you saw this story. And you're like, finally, a way to communicate with all my friends. Tell us about it.
Well, yeah, so the new beta of iOS 14.5, the second beta, which went out to the public yesterday and developers earlier in the week, has 271 new emojis in it. And there's some pretty cool ones. New faces and new... what was the one? The one that everyone's going crackers over is it
the smoky face?
Cinnabon. Which one?
Oh, there's a Cinnabon one in there?
The Cinnabon eyes, yeah.
You mean like little...
eyes
Okay, right. I didn't know that's what they were calling them.
Goofy looking mouth. But there's also one, as you know, my esteemed colleagues here on the podcast pointed out earlier, a face in the clouds. Super hilarious.
I'm showing them right now. I feel like these are in the wrong order. So you start off, am I in browser mode? Yeah, you start off with this one right on the left, and then you move to this one on the right. This is the state that Leander Caney perpetually lives in right here, where his face is
then you get the Cinnabon eyes.
His face is just obscured by the cloud. All you see are his eyes. And then he goes into the full Cinnabon eyes right here. This is the face that he makes when you're talking to him and trying to explain something, and you don't realize that he just has come through these first two phases. And then you realize he's actually not even listening to you. He is traversing through a imaginary world in his own mind. And his guide is Bigfoot, and they're climbing up trees and going on raft trips together. Have you ever seen Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny, Leander?
What's it called?
Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny. Have you ever seen that movie? You haven't? Oh, you should see it. You might really like it. It's I thought it was going to be an absolutely horrendous movie. It's Jack Black, Kyle Gass, and it is a fantastic movie. It's about these two guys who want to start their own rock band called Tenacious D, and they're on an escapade trying to obtain this guitar pick, like this demon infused guitar pick that they discover all the most famous rock guitar players have had, and no one knew about it. And so they're trying to go on this quest to like get this pick so that their band will have the pick of destiny and can be like the most popular rock band. There's this scene in it that, actually, I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but there's this scene where Jack Black is on some kind of illegal substance, and he goes on this trip in his own mind's eye through like this magical forest, and Bigfoot is his dad, and is this guide through this magical journey, and that's what I was thinking about for you. And
Is
this,
it funny?
oh, dude, it's great. You actually might really like it. It's got all the classic stoner tropes that will make you laugh. You know, so bring your Funyuns, bring your Snapple, and you'll be ready to go. So they added a bunch of new emojis. I'm scrolling through some of them here. We got Hearts of Fire, which is a great song, by the way. Hearts of Fire. Search for it on your music streaming application of choice. We got a Broken Heart here with some bandages on it. They got a bunch of gender stuff. They got some
Mending Heart, I think is
a
what it's
mending
called.
heart. Oh, okay, mending heart. Okay, got it.
Mending Heart.
They changed the headphones to look like the AirPods
right.
Max. There was something else here that I was going to show. Did I just go through all
Bearded
of them?
Woman.
They got the bearded woman in here now. They got biracial couples, which how do they not have that before? That is kind of surprising. So now you can have an emoji for that. And I think that pretty much wraps up all the most major ones. Oh yeah, we got the syringe.
There's
So
a new vaccine one. They
Oh,
changed
right.
the needle. So instead of it dripping blood, it now looks like a COVID vaccine.
sorry, was I not on browser mode during all this? I was just sitting here showing my face as I was describing these emoji. I apologize for that. Yeah, so
Oh, really?
yeah, well, not for all of them, just for like half of it. So sorry about that. So yeah, they've got one where it used to be a syringe filled with blood, and there's blood dripping from the syringe. That seems like a bad idea. It
Yeah,
kind
I
of
wonder
seems
why
like
that one lasted so long.
it seems like they never should have launched with that one in the first place. This one looks a lot more benign. It's like, look at that. A pleasant little needle with nothing. It's just innocuous, not harmful in there at all. And certainly your arm's not going to squirt blood when they pull the needle out of your arm. So there you go. But I think clearly the ones that are most applicable to this production are going to be these three guys right here. These little smoky dudes right there. Which I think Tim Cook has probably been in all three phases of this at some point in his life. He seems pretty clean cut, but I think that he might be doing a lot of this behind the scenes. All right. That's the new emoji. Let's move on to Apple Music because there are just a couple quick things I wanted to mention. So if you don't use Apple Music, you use Spotify. Let me just say, I'm with you. I use Spotify too. I pay for Spotify, but I have been using the Apple Music. I have been using the Apple Music trial. And there's some good stuff in here. And they just added some more stuff. So let me pull up something for you guys to look at here while I'm jabbering away. So Apple Music subscribers, as of iOS 14.5 Beta 2, which just launched, and we've been talking about here, they released the second beta, and it includes some new features for Apple Music. It looks like Federico Vitici discovered these features, and they were not present in the previous version of iOS 14.5. So now Apple Music subscribers can share lyrics as text as well as audio clips containing song lyrics. So first of all, if you didn't know, Apple Music has an absolutely fantastic lyrics feature, which I love. I don't know why Spotify doesn't have this. I heard they were investigating adding something like this. But when you're listening to music, it doesn't work for all songs. But if your song is supported, let me see if I can actually do this. I'll bring this up and I'll mute it. So let me see if I can just play something and then go into, yeah, here we go. Now, let's just do, I'm so out of touch with mainstream music. I have no idea what any of this stuff is. Oh, there we go. Okay. So I'm going to turn the volume all the way down. And so for me, I have it defaulting in this lyrics view that you can see right here. And you can see as the song plays, it will go through like karaoke and actually go through the lyrics so you know if you're singing along with it, what to say. But what's cool is, and I just discovered this the other day, is you can actually scroll through these lyrics. It's not working at the moment. There it goes. And you can touch on one of the lyrics and it will actually go to that point. Oops. It will go to that point in the song. It's so hard to do this backwards. So if you want to go back to a specific lyric, you can actually queue up the music right to that lyrical points. Very cool feature. And if you like to sing to yourself in the car, this is like such a fun feature. So we listen to like Disney show tunes a lot because my kids love them. I've got pipes. I could blast it. I could probably be a Disney singer if I wanted to be. Like if they need someone to sing the next Aladdin movie soundtrack, I could do that. And by the way, I could do it way better than Will Smith. He was just in the most recent version of Aladdin. What an absolute catastrophe that was. And the problem is anytime you want to bring up Aladdin music, which I listen to a lot in my household because I have 18 kids, is whenever you try to bring up Aladdin, it always defaults to that version. There's no way to verbally speak it to get it to the original Aladdin. So you always have to listen to Will Smith do his best to ruin that song. In any case, very cool feature, the lyrics feature from Apple Music. I know I got totally off track there. So there's some new features that they've just added that will allow you to share lyrics with people via messages and actually send them an audio clip of that song that they can listen to there in messages. So the baked-in features for Apple Music, they're really powerful. And there's some stuff in there that Spotify just doesn't have. And that's in addition to the unbelievable audio fidelity that you get with Apple Music. Again, I did a whole video on this on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/ArifandElijah. Because AirPods Max, they sound good. I use them with Spotify a lot. I just wasn't wowed with the audio fidelity I was getting from the AirPods Max, okay? And I was thinking to myself, maybe there's something that I'm missing here. And Spotify encodes their music, if you're a paid user, at 320 kilobits per second. So it's higher than Apple. They encode their music at 256 kilobits per second. But Apple uses the AAC codec, whereas Spotify uses Ogg Vorbis MP3. Some of this may not make any sense to a lot of people, but Ogg Vorbis, a very high quality way of encoding MP3. But even so, Apple Music's codec is so high quality that even at 256 kilobits per second, it sounds far better than Spotify does. And on the AirPods Max, it makes a obvious and immediate difference in sound quality, and it makes the AirPod Max sound, I said this before, it makes it sound 10 times better. So it's going to be hard for me to give up Apple Music, but I'm locked into Spotify. I'm not going anywhere. So in any case, you're going to be getting some new Apple Music features in iOS 14.5, and if you're an Apple Music user, I don't know why you'd want to send someone lyrics to a song like, hey, here's These Darn Accordions lyrics that I want you to read, you know? Maybe that. Sorry,
Well,
Leander, go ahead.
I mean, if you could send a snippet of the song, you know, like it's almost like sending a GIF, right? I mean,
Maybe.
and isn't Twitter coming up with some kind of feature where you can send audio tweets? God, I hate that word.
I hadn't heard about that.
That's more like a voicemail, isn't it?
Yeah, I did hear
don't know.
about that. So like, it's basically like the feature that you have.
Oh,
in
it's just a
messages where you
direct message. I thought it was. I thought we were going to start being barraged with audio tweets.
I don't think so. I think what I read was what Leander said, where you can record your voice and send it as a message like you can in messages, which
I've
that's
never
a feature.
used.
Yeah, me either. I think I used it with Alex E. Heath for like 5 minutes when it first released. But what they should do is add video messages. And it's surprising that they don't already have this. There's an app called Marco Polo, which my wife and all her friends love. In fact, they're paying for the freaking pro version of Marco Polo. They like it so much. And it just allows them to send video messages to each other. And I was just thinking, TC could bankrupt this company overnight. All they have to do is add this feature to messages, and then there's no point for Marco Polo to even exist. And how do they not have this feature in messages? Why can't you send video messages via messages? Then you could just chit-chat with all your girlfriends and, you know, talk about whatever wives talk about. I don't think I even want to know the discussions they're having, to be honest with you.
You mostly. No,
Probably
useless you
Can't
are.
handle the truth.
Useless. Come on, probably how much I can squat, and how much
Yeah,
how
we're
much
talking
how,
about that all the time. How good you smell.
how much
how
housework
when-
I do.
Yeah, right. How wonderful you are with the children.
Hey, you know what, Leander? I'm a lot like you. I do a lot of housework around here. I'm always around here cleaning up. Now, I don't clean the fridge like you do. You definitely got a one up on me. I don't think I've ever cleaned a fridge in my entire life. Maybe when I was
What?
moving out of a unit and I was like, okay, if I don't clean the fridge, the landlord's going to take my security deposit. But other than that, why clean the fridge? It's self-cleaning. You eat stuff out of it. Eventually, the things that are rotten get eaten, right?
Well, on average, there's a layer of fresh stuff at the front, and then behind that is like, you know, some kind of uncharted territory where we never know what you're gonna get.
All the science experiments are at the back where all the potatoes
Exactly,
are.
yeah. Well, because it's sort of, they get pushed back, don't they? So
Oh, so
it's
that's right.
ever
So the old
more
stuff is
rotten.
just consistently being pushed to the back of the fridge. I should check back there. It does smell odd sometimes when I open the door.
Jeez.
Maybe I should go in there and check. All right. Do you want to talk about this COO story just real fast, Lewis, before we move into an all new what we're into? Because we're running super long.
Yeah, let's just give people a heads up about a story we got on our. We just posted today on the site.
Okay, go for it.
Headline is How Apple's First COO Turned Chaotic Company into International Powerhouse. And this is just kind of a profile of a guy named Del Yoakum. He's basically a proto Tim Cook. He was a guy who back in I think it was 1979. He started working at Apple, and he started. He basically helped Apple become this big company that could produce millions of devices and dominate things. And so this. I just want to mention this story so people can go and read it. I mean, it's a 2,000-word story, but it talks about his career at Apple and some of he kind of acted as a mentor to Steve Jobs, and I'll just leave you with one little quote from the story. This is Del Yoakum talking about his time when Steve Jobs used to sit in on the weekly staff meetings. He says, it was hard for him to remain quiet. After the very first one, I told him he was going to have to just observe and not go off on tangents. He did that for a couple months. Then he backed out, which was a relief to the entire staff because he stank and he wore dirty clothes. So that's the kind of
Good golly.
candid, behind-the-scenes, anecdote you're going to get out of this this profile of Yoakum. But it also talks a lot about his very real contributions to making Apple the company it is today. And frankly, I'd never heard of this guy. I don't know if Leander had.
Me either.
But we've got some. We've even got like some. Like a job offer letter he got when Steve Jobs was going to get him to go work at Next, and there's like some a couple of documents in there that I haven't seen before, but anyway, it's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting story.
Because he stank and wore dirty clothes. God,
Yeah,
that's
that-
a Steve Jobs we never think of, right? The dirty, stinky hippie who showed up at work
that out
just
of the
stinking and unshowered for weeks at a time.
He thought his fruitarian diet, precluded him from showering and wearing deodorant. But apparently they had to tell him regularly to go home and shower. And then he'd walk around with no shoes on everywhere, and he'd put his feet up on the table, and his feet would be black.
just
Disgusting.
dirty hobbit feet.
Yeah, before he ran off to the toilet and then flushed in the toilet to relieve his stress. Did you hear about that one?
He would put his
I
feet
remember
in the
hearing
toilet?
that.
And flush, yeah. He used to he'd stand in the toilet and flush and keep flushing, and it would flush all this cold water over his feet, and it would like.
That is one of the weirdest things I've ever heard in my entire life.
The stress.
Did he have like a special, Steve Jobs only toilet for that, or would he just like walk into a random toilet?
I think he just walking around any toilet. He probably went to the disabled toilets, right? Like he parked
Yeah,
in the
probably.
disabled parking spot.
Excuse me,
didn't-
sir. I
didn't
really
wanna
need to
wait.
go. Forget
That's-
it. I'm flushing my feet.
God, that is just.
How do you discover that that's a thing that you should do? That's what I want to know. How do you go from being like, I'm really stressed to, I just need to flush my feet in your toilet?
I don't know.
God, it's almost impossible to believe. But
Well,
that's been
it's well
documented as
documented.
true, right?
Like it was in Isaacson's biography, and Yoakum talks about it.
LSD is a hell of a drug.
When he was when Jobs was at Atari, they put him on the night shift because he stank too much. They wanted to keep him away from everyone, so they put him on the night shift, and there was no one around.
Well, look, I mean, that's believable. I've heard that before, but the whole stress thing that makes you want to flee to the toilet and flush your feet into the toilet is one of the strangest things I've ever heard.
Yeah, I wonder where he got the idea. That's a good point.
I'm telling you, it's got to be drugs. How else could you possibly get that idea? To go stick your feet in some public toilet? I mean, who would ever think to do that?
I don't know.
Maybe he got a lot of
It is a bit
swirlies
odd.
when he was in high school and younger, and it became
I'm gonna-
oddly stress relieving for him. And he's like, I
We
can't
should
put my
try-
head in. I just should try my feet.
Someone's going to try it though. We need to do a story, Lewis. Remember you pointed out that the woman at the Chronicle who does all these experience stories. I
Right.
drank a gallon of water a day, and this is for
And
30
here's what
days.
happened. Yeah,
And here's what happened. Yeah, so we should do that. I flushed my foot down the toilet, and
like Steve
here's
Jobs.
like Steve Jobs, and here's how it helped.
And
we need to get
now
someone
I'm
on that
not
right
a
away.
millionaire.
Yeah, I nominate.
and I got a horrible infection.
Go ahead,
And I only
Leander.
have one
I nominate
leg.
you. You got a nice public toilet there at the
Uh,
old office,
I'm
man.
not
That'd be
doing it
nice.
here.
Real nice. Oh, that's beautiful. I've seen some nice pictures. It's looks like things have gotten a little bit extra hobo-y down there.
You give it a shot, Lander. You'll be riding your bike with one leg
Oh, jeez.
after that.
Oh,
The other one is all gangrene, right?
Yeah, it's gonna smell like that potato you found.
Well, I think I might put out a freelance pitch for it. I'll see if I can get some freelancers to do it.
Yeah, you need to put your top
Make 'em
journal on
sign a
that right away.
waiver.
To be honest, that sounds like more 9 to 5 Mac caliber writing right there. But whatever you gotta do to get the
I
clicks.
wonder if we could do the whole, I live like Steve Jobs, like a whole series, and someone eats apples for a week, see what happened to them.
That's actually kind of an interesting premise. I lived like Steve Jobs for a whole
Didn't
week. Here's what
shower.
happened.
Gonzo journalism, Caney style. Let's see it, man.
Well, it'd be funny if they turned out to be a millionaire, right? They suddenly they end up running this this hot startup, and then they don't even follow the story because they're so successful.
They're just in the bathroom, flushing their feet, getting all these great ideas, executing. All right, well, that was a fun aside. So I'll put the link to that story in the show notes. How Apple's first COO turned chaotic company into international powerhouse. Great title too. So congratulations, Luke, on that. All right, let's move into an all new what we're into. These are the things that we are currently into that oftentimes have nothing to do with Apple, which is why we put them at the end of the show and arguably belong at the front because they're probably going to be the most entertaining part of the show. Lewis, do you want to kick us off? Do you have anything that everyone needs to know about? Maybe you've discovered a way to flush your feet that really calms your spirit.
Well, I'll just talk briefly about something. It's an Apple TV Plus show called For All Mankind. Have you guys watched this?
You're still
I watched
watching
the
that
first episode.
show?
I got so bored, I never didn't watch a second.
Right.
Same here.
So I watched the entire first season. Just finished it up, a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
The new season starts tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
And so I can't really say that this is a what we're into because it's I'm like halfway into it. There's certain things I like about the show. I really like the the stuff on the moon. I like I just like the look of it, if nothing else. I like the sort of exploration of what it would be like to kind of live on the moon because that's what ends up happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing I didn't like about the show is so much of it took place on Earth. It's basically like a soap opera. It's a lot about the wives of the astronauts and the this and the that and the internal politics and the this. And for people who don't know, I mean, this is all about it's an alternate history show. It was one of the launch shows for Apple TV Plus a year and a few months ago.
Yeah.
And alternate history, and it's set in the, I guess, 60s, 70s, and it's all about the Russians beat us to the moon. And I was trying to explain this show to Leander. We were talking about it. To me, it reminds me a lot of like an Oliver Stone movie. It does a good job of like capturing that period of time. It's very it's got a lot of kind of what it seems like kind of like found footage or archival footage, right? There's a lot of Nixon talking, but then there's all these things where the sort of reality shifts because of this or that, and so suddenly Nixon's not the president, Edward Kennedy is the president.
Uh-huh.
And things like that happen, and so it's a lot of, I think it does a good job of like being that sort of nostalgic retro feeling, kind of this is what things were like even though they weren't exactly like this. But then all the like interpersonal stuff, I don't know, it never really caught me that much. And but so anyway, the very last episode, the very last scene, maybe it was even like a post-credit scene, but there was, should I tell what it was?
Well,
Maybe
you don't
not.
want to spoil it,
Spoiler
right?
alert.
Yeah, don't
Well,
spoil it.
Hold on, but I'm kind of intrigued now. I want to know what it is.
Well, you guys can talk offline. I don't want to hear it. I want you to spoil it.
I'm not gonna say what happens exactly, and it's nothing like that astonishing or anything. But it definitely, like they definitely signal, hey, we're gonna spin this thing forward, and get ready for next season. That's basically what it was. And the next season, there's a bit like a time jump. It's in the '80s, and Reagan's the president, and things. If you've seen the trailers, things are heating up on the moon. In the first season, the U.S. has a moon base. The Soviets have a moon base, and there's like a little bit of like Cold War kind of tension and stuff, and not really fighting, but they have some standoffs up there. But anyway, in the new season, there's like astronauts with guns, right? Can you even use a gun on the moon? I don't have any idea.
Sure you could.
But
It'd probably work fine.
Would it? I don't know.
Yeah, totally. Because you have like the blast, and then the bullet would just go, and it would never stop.
Would it like send you?
Doesn't need
10 feet in the
oxygen to
background?
ignite.
Oh, that's actually an interesting point. It might send you backwards. The bullet just stays there, and you go flying backwards at like
I mean,
1,000 miles a second.
you talk to a physicist about this, but anyway, so it looks like this season's going to be a lot more of Cold War heating up on the moon, militarization of the moon, which is the theme of the first season.
Interesting.
But so anyway, I'm cautiously optimistic about it. I'm definitely going to check it out. I'm a little I'm hoping that there's more action and less squabbling between husbands and wives and stuff like that.
God, the first season of For All Mankind was so horrendously boring. I couldn't even make it through the first 3 episodes. It just seemed like it went nowhere, and it took forever to get there. When
Yeah,
did
it's
when did
true.
the show finally start becoming interesting?
Honestly, I mean, throughout it, I was just I never went like, yeah, this is awesome. It's always just like, yeah, okay, where's this going? Where's this going? And they really, they teased out the where's this going for 10 episodes. And I got to say, if I was going to recommend this show, I would say go watch a, first season in 10 minutes recap of it, because to be honest, it was kind of slow and it wasn't that awesome.
Wow,
But-
this is a really compelling what I'm into section, right? So it's like what
Well,
I'm.
I mean,
kinda
this is the problem, right? Like, I mean, I wanted to watch it to get ready for this first. Yeah, this is one of the shows I was most excited about when Apple TV Plus launched, but I never watched it because they didn't release all 10 episodes at once, and I hate that. Like, wait a week. I can't remember. I'll lose track of what's going on, right? I'll lose track of the story. I don't. For some reason, I can't do it. Never. It was always a pain in the butt for me. But the other thing is, just it didn't get amazing reviews, but I was super interested in it because, Ronald Moore, the guy that developed it, he's the guy who did the Battlestar Galactica reboot.
Mm-hmm.
He's worked on Star Trek. He's very well respected, and I think he's a good storyteller. So I was super excited. And this show definitely has elements of it that are good. And, the stuff on the moon, like I said, the stuff on the moon looks cool. I like the way that looks. I like watching them. And there's also a lot of like kind of practical stuff of like how they got ready to go to the moon and how they the sort of like prep work that they have to do, the things that the astronauts have to go through to get ready to go to the moon. And by the way, I mean, the other thing people might not know about, and I don't think this is really spoiling it, but the Russians, the Soviets get the first person on the moon, beat the US because the US like was too cautious, right? And so now NASA's trying to like recapture its glory and trying to be, push it to the limit, and then the Soviets get another person on the moon, and it's a woman, and she's like, oh no, now we got to have a bunch of women on the moon, and so it's, I mean, I don't know, it's definitely an interesting show. It's not, I can't wholeheartedly recommend it, and I would not say that it is amazing. It's oddly normal and unsurprising for being something about like complete alternate history, right? It's kind of amazingly not that crazy.
Well, if you're looking for something that is not that crazy and amazingly normal, they're planning a For All Mankind companion podcast, Lewis,
Oh,
Which-
right, yeah.
which critics have hailed as amazingly normal, not that compelling, better than nothing.
They've
Better
also
than
got
nothing.
they've also got an AR app. Did you know that?
No, I bet that's
AR app
probably
that you
more
can go
fun
and
than the
you-
show.
Yeah, I felt like I actually downloaded that on the way they released it, or the day they released it, just to see what it was about. It's like, once again, AR. Oh, great! I feel like I'm in 1993 looking at a CD-ROM game. Oh, look, you can open a box and something comes out of the box. Oh, my God. Yeah, not
All right,
interested.
For All Mankind. God, they're on season 3 already.
No, they're on season 2. They have inked a deal. Like the third season's coming.
Okay, so they're
But-
working on season 3
But
now.
season 2 starts tomorrow, or if you're listening to this tomorrow when we release this, today.
Oh, so season 2 is just beginning.
Yeah, it starts. That's why I wanted to discuss this. I know it's a
Got
shame
it.
neither of you guys have seen any of it.
Shame
or-
you didn't hear a word of that, Elfon. This is what he was just been talking about the last.
Sorry, I was looking for articles in the background. So here's the problem.
You
I'm
also
try-
checked out.
I'm trying to create some compelling visuals as we're discussing this, but Apple they are very blocky with their content page. So if I go to the actual For All Mankind page and show it to you as we're speaking, they're going to hit the video with a copyright strike, which is what they did last time. And I'm like, I'm showing your trailer. And I wasn't even trying to play the trailer. It was playing the trailer in the background. So this time I stopped the trailer on the page so that I could show it. But I'm like, well, shoot.
Just in time.
Will they hit me with a strike just for showing you the webpage? I don't know, and I don't want the stream to go down. So I was like looking for compelling websites to go to in the background as you were speaking, because I just
Wow.
don't know what Apple's going to hit us with, which is
That's
so
just
lame.
nuts.
I know,
That
it's
is-
like, dude,
it
we're
is. It's
talking about
crazy.
your trailer and we're talking about your show. This is fair use. Clearly, it's fair use. It's like the very definition of fair use. But I don't want to get us in trouble, so I was trying to be cautious. And sorry, I had to tune out there while I was looking for websites.
Thanks for taking one for the team.
Yeah, you bet. And I figured El Caney was going to be listening and hanging off of every word, which he was. So now we're going to do a segment that we call Leander Caney regurgitates everything he just heard live. No, we're not going to do that. Okay, here we go. I'm going to do mine next, and then Leander, you can wrap us up. So I'm going to pitch a show as well. And this started off as being one of the strangest shows I have ever seen. It's on Disney Plus. Some of you probably heard of it. It's called Wandavision. And it is a show starring Vision and Wanda, what's her last name? Maximoff from the
remember.
Marvel movies. And this show premise is so friggin' bizarre. When I was watching it with my wife, and I was looking at her, and I was like, what the heck is this show? So they star Vision and Wanda Maximoff as a couple in a television series from the 50s. And it starts off kind of like Bewitched. And it's them living this wacky, zany life together in this Bewitched-esque television show. And the first episode is totally bizarre. You're like, what is the point of this show? And then season 2 gets even stranger. And they are pretending to be this couple in a 50s television show and going through all of the ridiculous nonsense that used to happen in those kinds of shows like I Love Lucy and Bewitched. And what was some other popular television show from the 50s?
I Dream of Jeannie.
I Dream of Jeannie. Great example, right? It's actually probably more like I Dream of Jeannie because she does magic tricks and stuff, right? Makes things float around. And then you have like Vision there and he's got magical powers too. Well, once you get to like episode 3 or episode 4, things get very, very interesting. And you start to realize, you start getting shown snippets that everything that's happening in this show is just the pretense to what is going to be happening later in the show. And the 50s I Dream of Jeannie television show that you're seeing is not going to be what's happening for all the rest of the show. It's just what's happening at this moment. And as the show progresses, they start doing episodes that are reminiscent of other shows that you've seen, you know, throughout the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. It's actually really interesting because every one of these shows is done so unbelievably well. The special effects, the writing, it feels like a Marvel movie, but a Marvel movie that's 30 minutes long. So every episode's about 30 minutes long. The effects are movie grade, and all the characters from the actual movie are in the show, which is such a strange phenomenon because movie stars are movie stars, and they don't ever show up in television shows. But now that's not the way things work. Now that we're in the realm of streaming and there are no commercials, these big movie stars are now also in the shows. So the people that you know from the Marvel movies are also now just in this show. It has all the same music and the same level of production and everything. And now we're on episode 5, and every episode has this huge hook. This big question mark is hanging over everything that's happening in the show. I'm trying to speak vaguely so I don't spoil anything. But after episode 3, you're like, wait a second, what's going on here? This show is not what I thought it was. And then episode 4 happens, and you're like, whoa, what is happening in this world? And episode 5, you're like, I can't wait for them to release more episodes. It has turned into a fantastic program, and one that I look forward to watching. And I wish they had all the episodes out so I could just binge them. Yeah,
it got really mixed reviews, didn't it? The first 3 or so, it wasn't. It was. They were saying, is this the worst show on Disney Plus? Is this a huge like?
I can totally understand.
I saw some really harsh criticism of it. Like it was like it's a clever idea and they're reaching, but it doesn't work. But I think they were only reviewing the first few episodes.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. So the episode 3 through 5 are radically different than episodes 1, 2, 3. Episodes 1, 2, 3, they are just setting up the pretense of what is happening in this world. And I can understand why people would hate it, because the first episode, I hated it. I was like, what the hell were they thinking? This is one of the most bizarre shows I've ever seen. Why would you just take these 2 Marvel people and put them into I Dream of Jeannie and have them pretending to be this couple from the 50s? This show makes no sense. And it's just all over the place. It's totally zany and wacky. And the comedy is all over the place like it was in the 50s and 60s. But then they start to corral you into something different. And you start to realize this world is not as it seems. Because if you remember, this is not a spoiler, but this is something that I didn't realize when I first started watching the show is... Well, maybe it is kind of a spoiler. I'm sorry. If you don't want to hear a spoiler about any of the Marvel movies, then skip ahead 30 seconds. You've been warned. Vision is dead. So why is he in this show? But then you're like, wait a second. Does this show take place in the past? So that's one of the other things about this show that kind of draws you in is you're not really sure where in the Marvel timeline it takes place. But as the show progresses, you start to get more of a feeling of where it actually is in the timeline. There's just a lot of strangeness, a lot of confusion, but they do a good job of pushing you into the story subtly and helping you figure out what is going on. And once you get to episode 5, then you're really hooked. And every episode, it has like that same feeling that you had in Lost, where they start subtly raising all these questions.
Oh, no.
And you're like, whoa, what is going on? I thought I knew what was going on, and now I have no idea. I just hope they answer them, unlike Lost.
Yeah, I was going to say, are there going to be answers?
Well, this is the writing on this is really good, and it's helmed by Dave Filoni, who is also doing The Mandalorian, I think. So they have like this corral of really talented writers and people working on these shows. So I have high hopes that this is gonna turn out well. But I could totally see why people would think that the show was awful, because the first episode, if you don't know that this is going somewhere and it's going to take you to a place that you're not in currently, you would think that it's awful, because it's a terrible idea for a show. Like Wanda and Vision in a I Dream of Jeannie show from the 50s is a totally weird, zany idea that makes no sense. But that's just where it starts. And then it takes you somewhere really cool. And actually, it adds a lot of context to Wanda and Vision's characters, because I don't know about you guys. I'm not like some Marvel fanatic. I don't read comic books. And I was wondering, is there some history here, like with Vision particularly, that I don't know about? There must be, because he just showed up in the Marvel movies. And I was like, who the hell is this guy? Like, why all of a sudden are we talking about this guy named Vision who has a stone in his head and can fly around? We don't have any context for his character. It's not like Iron Man where you know where he came from. So this adds a lot of that context to these two characters, and it's gonna add a whole extra amount of story to the Marvel movies that you didn't have before. So it's pretty cool. And the fact that it's on Disney Plus and they're committed to creating all this new Marvel content and building out the Marvel universe is really kind of cool. The same with the Star Wars content. So that's my pick. I've been totally into this. In fact, I like it so much that I usually only watch an episode every Friday. But last night I was like telling my wife, like, hey, we got an extra 30 minutes. Like, maybe we should check out an episode of WandaVision. And we did, and it was a great episode. So that's my pick. Lander, you want to take us home? Tell us about your pick.
All right. Well, I hate to be predictable and boring, but I was going to choose the Peak Pro, which is a battery pad vaporizer, which I just got to review
Oh my!
this
You're
week.
Do a
getting all the
twofer.
gear.
You're gonna do a what we're into and an under review
Well, I was
next
trying
week.
to. I know. I'm sorry.
That's
This will just be
fine.
a quick preview because I haven't really reviewed it yet.
Mhm.
I've only had a couple of goes on it, so
Couple
I
of
haven't
goes on
really
it in sesh mode.
explored the whole, all the ins and outs. Well, first of all, it unfortunately, like when I first got it, it made me cough like crazy. And I'm like, oh my God, this is no good. And the whole idea is what it is. It's a vaporizer. It's a concentrated vaporizer with a built-in water bubbler. So it has. Have you got a picture of it there, Fun?
I'll bring it up right now while you're talking. So sorry, tell me the name one more time.
The Peak Pro. It's by Puffco, my favorite company.
Oh, you are the new mascot, the new spokesman for Peak Pro. Is it PEAK?
Yeah, Peak Pro.
Okay. Oh, there it
Sounds like
is.
the kind of thing.
The Peak Pro Power Dock. Are you ready to dock yourself to the peak? To the peak of narcotics? To the peak, to the apex of highness. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I got it right here. It looks like a
Yeah.
monolith from the future. This is like something that, someone from the year 4000 would smoke out of.
My God, and the thing lights up. It's crazy. It's got all these like light up LEDs. The water part lights up, and then the lights on the bottom light up. So it's a complete audio visual experience, and it's really really good. I mean, it's
Holy
really,
moly!
really
Look at that
good.
case. Even the case looks like it was made from the future. This is like something that someone in Tron would smoke.
Yeah, the case is huge. It's actually pretty big. It's a pretty chunky device. It's not portable at all, really. I was hoping that it would be smaller and you could put it in a pocket and I could take on my bike rides, but it's just not. You
It's as
can't
big
really.
as your
it's too
head,
big.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's big. It's big, and it's pretty heavy, and it's got Qi charging,
Of
um,
course.
and it's got four. It's got a sesh mode, of course,
Oh yeah.
which is my favorite, and different temperature settings. But it made me cough in the beginning, and what I didn't realize there was a little piece of plastic on the bubbler part
That you're supposed
that
to take off.
yes, but I forgot to take off, so I was inhaling all these really horrible fumes,
Oh
plastic
my
fumes that making me
God,
cough
really?
like crazy. Yeah, I wrote to the company because they sent it to me to review, and I'm like, this thing's making me cough like crazy. And they said, well, turn down the heat a bit. They gave me some other advice, and then it wasn't until I got home and I looked at it, and I didn't actually follow the instructions. You're supposed to take the bubbler part off before you fill it up with water.
Uh huh.
And if I had done that per the instructions, I would have seen this. But because I'm the kind of person that doesn't follow instructions, and I just filled it up from the tap. It burned a hole through the plastic, so it was actually
Oh
getting
my
some
gosh.
vapor in. But yeah, it wasn't good. Anyway, so now I finally figured it out and got it working. I'm a big fan. It's really really cool. It's a really great device. Not cheap, I'm afraid. $400.
Is that all?
Yeah, I know. It's a lot of money. A lot of money. But so far, yeah, I'm digging it.
Oh wow! It will even tell you the temperature inside of the Peak Pro. It hits up to 530 degrees, and look at the whole thing is red. So wait, I think you can tell it what color to churn based on the temperature. Oh man.
Yeah, right. That's what it does. Yeah, it cycles through each color represents a different temperature. So blue is the coolest one, and in fact, that's what I was been using, just the cool one so far.
Well,
So I
why
haven't
would
I
you
haven't dialed it
wanna?
up to the higher temperatures.
Why would you want to alter the temperature on something like this?
But depending on what concentrate you use, it depends how much vapor it produces.
Uh huh.
So the cooler temperatures tend to produce less vapor, but they tend to be more flavorful. So I've been trying this stuff called pineapple papaya, and it tastes just like pineapple and papaya. It's really amazing. But you get a sort of modest amount of vapor off it. If you dial it up to a higher temperature, then you get a ton of vapor, but it kind of burns it out a bit, and it can be a bit harsh.
Uh huh.
But you have to sort of dial it in. You have to kind of experiment with different temperatures for different, for depending on what the concentrate is. Like if it's the stuff. What's the stuff I got recently? I had a lot of success with live sugar, live rosin, which is almost basically pure. The resin, that comes off of the plant.
Uh huh.
They crush it, and it expels all the resin, and basically that's it. That stuff vaporizes real nicely. But there's some other concentrates that have been that are extracted with solvents.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
Well, I think you don't get the solvent. You just, they just use the solvent to get the extract. And then I don't think there's any solvent left in it because it
so
would
they
poison
say.
you.
Yeah.
But and I bought a couple of those a couple of days ago, and I haven't had a chance to experiment with those yet. So I've got high hopes of those.
It's got a pulse mode, a wave mode.
What?
Do you ever put it in disco mode, Leander?
I haven't tried any of that yet. No.
You haven't tried disco mode? Yeah.
What is sesh mode?
Yeah, I haven't tried that either. But on the sesh mode on the Puffco Plus, which is the pen that they make, you double click that and it'll heat it up for like a good 10 seconds. So normally you do it manually. You press and hold the button. If you press sesh mode, if you double click it, it'll heat up for 10 seconds and it shakes and flashes when you're ready to take a hit off of
Holy
it.
moly. I'm looking at the pictures. First of all, their marketing out of this world. This is like one of the most polished stoner websites I have ever seen. The industrial design on this product, no expense was spared on the website or the product design.
Primo.
I mean, it looks like an obelisk from the year 4000, built to celebrate the arrival of Lord Zortron to our Earth. And this is what he makes all his pupils smoke to make sure that their minds are elevated to a place where they can communicate with him without speaking, of course. This thing is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's you're right. It's really well made. It's very, very good quality. It's nice.
No wonder they keep sending you these things because we just sit here and talk about them like every show.
Yeah.
What a spectacle. All right, this is called the Peak Pro. It comes with a the power dock might be an additional accessory. I don't know. Does it come with it, Leander?
It is. No, they sent me one.
What does the power dock do? Is it just the charger, the wireless charger?
It's a Qi charger, and it's like an extra battery. So it's like a dock you can sit it in. It'll Qi charge it. But then if you run out of battery, you can use the dock to give it a bit of a juice.
That's funny. Since we started talking about this topic, our concurrent viewers has surged. They all came back. They're like, they're all bored, and they all flooded back in to hear Leander talking about the Peak Pro with sesh mode and power dock. This thing
does
is
sound more sci-fi than For All Mankind.
Yeah, this thing is one of the most sci-fi products I've ever seen. Oh man, if I had this in my heydays, I'd be dead. I'd be dead right now. All right, guys. Well, I think we're gonna go ahead. And wrap it up there. There's nothing that we could do that would ever top that topic. So
I'll have a full report next week, by the way.
okay, yeah, we should do an all new under review next week. It's been forever since we've done one of those, and I got some products that I need to talk about too. So we got to bring back under review. But for now, that's gonna do it for this week's content. We went super long. Holy moly, what are we at? Like 6.5 hours now. So that's it. That's all the cool casts we have for you guys this week. If you want to come tell us about the things that you like to smoke off of, we're all on Twitter. I'm at Earfon, ERFON. Leander is at L. Caney. Lewis is at Lewis Wall. System in the Cultcast, the best 30-plus minute Apple and Puff conversation you're going to hear all week long. New episodes of the Cultcast come out every Thursday night until they round us up and put us in narcotics jail. Well, thank everyone for listening, and we'll see you guys next time. Yeah, we want to hear a serious puff action here, Leander.
That's exactly what it sounds like. Good God, that's really remarkable.
Oh my God!
That's
Pretty impressive. Circular breathing or something going on there.
It's like I'm playing one of those the didgeridoo.
Yeah, right.
I can just keep going. I don't have to stop. I just
Tube
keep
and
going
throat
until my eyes
singer.
roll back in my head and someone has to call 911.
Well, I got some bad news. QuickTime's not recording.
What?
It's so weird. It's like 6 seconds,
Oh
but it's
my
just
gosh.
not going.
Probably gonna have 6 seconds of static. That
Yeah,
happens
no
to me every now and then. You gotta look at. Well, I have to look at it and make sure that it actually is going up at 1 a second, as opposed to just like sitting at 1, and then it slowly goes to 2,